Morning, everybody. We're going to get started with our technical assistance webinar this morning. If you have any questions, please make sure that you type them into the chat pod. We will grab those. And if you want to discuss something specific, please make sure that you have marked it um, on the screen share there, and then we will discuss those items in particular. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Natasha.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and move this over a little bit so we can go ahead and share my computer screen. I'm going to go ahead and start out with showing you some of the items that we have released or updated since our last technical assistance meeting. And I'm looking at, make sure, Dee, you can see my page? You can see
Yes,
my
I
screen,
can.
Dee?
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
great. Okay, we're going to go ahead and look at the ATIM updates section. And you'll notice that we do have a couple of new features that we have added. And I wanted to also show you some things that are coming up that haven't been released yet. So a couple of things that we're going to take a look at first is the ability to move customers to a different team. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I am logged into Edit, and on Edit, whenever you go to along your top menu, you'll see a Teams button. If you select Edit for one of your teams, this is where you'll see a listing of your team members, but you'll see your customers. One of the things that's important to know is that although you went ahead and whenever you added your customer to a team, you did it within the personalized training and employment plan. In order to move them to a different team, you need to go in to the team section. So that's a little bit different. So teams, pick your team, edit the team, and you'll see your listing of customers, and you'll see that there's a move button. So you just simply click move, and you can select a different team to add them to that team. That's one of the features that I know that some people are really looking forward to because they had several people that they wanted to move to different teams. So now you have the ability to do that. Another area that I wanted to point out is that we had some instances where a person was they were going ahead and completing step 1 and step 2 in the expanded bridge section, which is great because that's what we want you to do. But the problem is those automatically populate IWDS, and where the problem was coming in was that in some of those instances, people were having a later certified date, a date that was, they're trying to certify them. Let's say that they filled in step 1 and step 2 on, February 6th, but then when they went to go and actually certify the person in IWDS, they were putting like February 7th or something like that, and it was causing a little bit of a problem. So what we've done is now whenever you go into this section, the manufacturing expanded bridge section, you must, well, it's a little bit different here because this one's already completed, but what you'll have to do is before those step 1 and step 2 are unlocked, you must go in and certify the person IWDS first. So the process is that you go through intake, you go through the random assignment. If they're in the treatment group, then they're added to your enrolled customers list. Let me go ahead and they'll be added to this list. If you have a person that doesn't have a plan, then you will add them to a team. So I'm going to add this person to a team. And then once you add them to a team, this is taking a while here. Well, this is my edit. I know that they're making some updates on edit, so maybe I shouldn't show it in right now. Hold on. I'm sorry, my computer's taking a while. You'll see that they have the not set date for their step 1 and step 2. If I go through this process and I haven't already marked them as certified in IWDS, I'm going to get this great big red message along the top that says that I can't do this until I certify them in IWDS. So that's your example. Okay. So those are the two larger release items that we had for this week. Click here. Okay. Are these new steps? Are these new? Karen had a question. Are these new step-by-step directions in the ATIM resources section? Yes, they are. That piece has been included. Let me get to the right page. I have multiple windows open. Sorry about that. Let me go. Go to this page. Here we go. Yep, they are. You can get them by going to the update page, the see updated instructions. I tell you page 2, and they are also available in the download section as well as in the personalized training plan section. Okay. Let's see where it is. Set up and create personalized training and employment plan. Okay. Okay. Let me go ahead and those are the two new items, new release items. We also added some more resources. We added some information about online professional development, transitioning through adult education. So those are opportunities that are available for you that you can sign up for. We also have resources we have the statewide manufacturing bridge curriculum that's available, and those are resources that have been added to the personalized plan section as well as to the download section. So those are some new items as well. And then, let me see here, let me go back to my updates. At what point do the two auto generators appear in IWDS? Okay, that's a good question, Kathy. They will appear, they should appear pretty much immediately. I mean, maybe 5 minutes, I don't know. I don't know if Jim, if we haven't actually timed it, I don't know if there's much of a delay, but it really shouldn't be much of a delay because the information, when you set those in My WorkNet, it sends that information to IWDS. But Jim, if I'm wrong on that, just please go ahead and type that in. Oh, at what point the input? I'm sorry, go ahead, Jim.
No, you're correct. When the steps are completed, the way I understand it, in WorkNet, that they auto-populate into IWDS. As far as the times, I don't know how long that takes. Everything you've always spoke about is just a matter of a couple minutes, isn't it, when it syncs up?
Right.
Kathy just said that in what point in the input process, which step?
Okay, so yeah, good question. Okay, so the input is that they'll go through intake. They're added to a group, treatment or veteran. Once they are added to a treatment group, treatment or veteran group, then you can certify them in IWDS. Then at any point in that process after they're certified in IWDS, you can go ahead and add them to a team. You can go ahead and enter step 1 and step 2. Technically, You can add them to a team before you have completed the certification process in IWDS, but until you complete the certification in IWDS, you won't be able to enter steps 1 and 2. Once you enter steps 1 and 2 into ATIM tools, it automatically populates IWDS, which allows you to enroll the customer into other services within IWDS.
Natasha, I have something for a second.
Uh-huh.
This is Jim. What I recommend is every day you go in and you check, or maybe a couple times a day, each case manager go in, check your clients that have been randomly assigned to the treatment group, or if you're in the veterans group, you pick those and you certify them. And then it just keeps everything moving along. What the problem was is sometimes people let their clients just sit out there after they've been randomly assigned. Nothing's going to go on with them until they get picked off the random assignment list and certified. So that's the biggest thing to keep them moving along the process. You have to make sure to go in and pick those clients that have been randomly assigned to the treatment group or put in the veterans group. That's all I got, Natasha.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so those are some of the items the new items. I want to give you a preview of what is coming. What is coming, let me go ahead and get the right screen up here. There we go. This is actually in production, so I have it, my screen adjusted so you can't see the person's name. And right now, this is available to super users, so like Mike Baker and only working at Staff Gym. They can see the summary, and but we are going to make this available so that LWIA staff can see the summary of changes that have been made to the personalized training and employment plan. You can see, all the different pieces of the plan, and then the summary. We're going to change this name to update log. I just think it is a little bit more descriptive of what the page is or what this section includes. And what it does, it includes a log of all the changes that have been made to the plan. So you can see which section, what changed, when it happened, and who made that change. And this is the first step that will allow us, what we're working on now, is the auto notification piece. And so what that means is that we'll have a weekly email that provides a summary to the customer that says, these are the updates that have been made to your plan, or these are the different new job postings that have been made available to you. So really recommend that if you have some of those training plans that just need a little finessing. Maybe they were first ones that you did, so you're just getting used to, the tools and the process. We encourage you to go in there and really, update those before this notification process, before we release that component. Okay. Another thing that we did since our last technical assistance meeting was to provide a webinar on optimal resume, and the sorry, I sidetracked. Okay, so we provided a webinar on optimal resume, and one of the concerns was that we want to make sure, this is the workforce partners, speaking like I'm a workforce partner. One of the concerns is that they want to make sure that they have access to optimal resume before their customers start, using it and asking them all these different questions about optimal resume. And I completely understand what you're saying. I would want the same thing myself. So what this is going to be, actually, let me go back over to production. I'm in edit right now, so let me go back
Natasha,
to
Karen asked,
yes.
How soon will the notifications be going out?
The automatic notifications, I would not this week, next week. And then, okay, so for the optimal resume, one of the areas, a place where you'll be able to access optimal resume is on the resources tab. And so what we have a resources tab, and then we have a link to optimal resume, and you'll be able to log into optimal resume so you can get the the feel for it. You can go ahead and you can use it to create your own resume, update your own resume, put your information together there so that you can have firsthand experience with using optimal resume before your customers start to, really get into it and start asking you questions. So my programmers are in the last, we were hoping that it would already be released. They're working on one last testing piece of it has to do with logging out. So they're doing that right now. And so we'll get that out as soon as we possibly can. But what will happen is I'll send a notice out to all of the ATIM workforce partners to let you know about the optimal resume and the release. And then we'll give you a couple days to look at it, and then we'll send a notice out to the customers to let them know that optimal resume is available to them. It'll be available to them, but they probably, unless they're just nosing around, they won't probably find it. So those are some of the things that are coming up. Okay. And then let me go ahead. And then so far, okay, are there any other, I see Dee and Donna are typing. Are there any, okay, Dee's just, okay.
I don't see any other questions unless Donna's typing a question right now.
Okay, so those are some of the new updates. I know that Mike wanted me to point out that we do need to make sure that the updates in IWDS reflect what, okay, make sure to point out, they need
Natasha,
to
you want me to
update
cover this?
IWDS. Yeah, please.
All right, this is Jim. It's really important that everybody make sure they're keeping their IWDS accounts updated on these ATIM customers. Mike's using reports out of IWDS to report to leadership of status of clients. What we came across last week, there was almost 100 clients out there who actually had services, their 2 auto-populated services, that were dated prior to their certification. Well, that's impossible to happen. The systems between WorkNet and IWDS, there was a problem with communication, but that's been fixed, so that cannot happen any longer. But it's imperative that people keep their IWDS records up to date, so he'll be able to let folks know above him what's going on. So I'll stress it over and over. Really, it's important to have your staff checking ATIM search customers every morning and probably at the end of the day, and ATIM group assignments in the morning at the end of the day. You got to keep those records up to date with what's going on, or else it's going to be impossible to keep track of the clients in IWDS, what's going on with them. So I think that's what Mike wanted passed on.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to
One other
address
question.
what Donna was typing about? She received an email from Paula about ATIM update. Has the enrollment date changed from 3/31/14 to 8/29/14?
Enrollment date, I don't know.
We'll check into that, Donna, and find out what's going on, okay?
If that's just a specific client, have her send it to me and I can look it up, because it looks like that'd be impossible if it's having an enrollment date dated a month and a half ahead now. So if it's, just have her send the client to me, and this is Jim.
All right, Jim, you want to put your email address in the chat pod for Donna?
Sure.
Okay. One of the things that we wanted to point out too, and I'm going to go to not picking on a specific person here. I'm going to go to the edit side. One of the things that has come up is that there might be a little bit of confusion with sometimes on the ATIM dashboard for the training plans and where that information is coming from. So let me get a dashboard up here. I can flip between a customer's plan and their dashboard. Okay. While it's churning here, then I'll go ahead and just go over to the plan. One of the things that's with the plan, and this is also, one of the things that we notice, when you take a look at the dashboard and you're looking at IWDS and some of these start and end dates, taking a look at them like, well, why, you start digging into the details of like, well, why are some of these people, marked as like, maybe they're red flagged or, why is that happening on some of these things? Some of the stuff doesn't make sense. And what we've noticed is that the plan right now is open up really quite a bit so that you can enter in, you could enter in, technically with the plan, you could enter in a start date and not enter in an end date. Once you enter in a start and end date, you can delete them. And that's really was designed, intentionally so that when you're working with your team and you're talking about how you can personalize this training plan for the customer, you may not have all those details with you at that very moment. You may not know your exact start and end dates, but you want to document the details of, yes, we need to do this, we need to do that. We want to go ahead and get this person into this type of training. And you start entering all that information into their plan, and then the local workforce investment area staff can go back in and, work on those start and end dates to really make all that information meaningful. Because when we look at this training plan, this is really supposed to be like a roadmap for the customer. So everybody is literally on the same page. They understand that they need certain competencies. They know that it's important to complete these career development activities. They know that they need, whatever training is required by the employer. Any additional training that they might be interested in, they have that in the plan. They have it mapped out, whatever their technical training is, and so everybody is clear on what the plan is and how they're going to be ready for these permanent placement opportunities. And so it was really left open so that you could really, manipulate it and use it as a plan, because we know things change and you're at different stages in the plan. But one of the things that has come up is we've seen some instances that I don't know if they had started out with, maybe they started out with putting in a start and end date, and then the end date got deleted. But it would be good to take a look at those start and end dates to make sure that everything is the way it should be. One of the changes that we would like to incorporate is that if you do, to lock it down just a little bit more, so that if you enter in a start date, then an end date is required. And then hopefully there won't be, that'll eliminate some of the confusion that's coming up whenever you take a look at the training plan dashboard. And I'm getting there. I apologize. My edit server is being very, very slow today. Okay. So does that, while I'm waiting for my dashboard to come up, does that make sense to everyone? That the plan was, left open, but we are going to lock down on some of these because where we're noticing some of these discrepancies is whenever it says service dates not met. This is automatically generated. This column right here, service dates not met, automatically generated using the system. So it requires the end date, start and end dates, and then in order for it to not show up red in this category, that section needs to be marked off as service complete. The other question that has come up is, well, why do some of these populate, why are some of these people red? And this one, the difference is that in order for something to be off track, that means a partner went in and, intentionally selected off track within the training plan. That's the only way that these people will show up in this column. Were there any questions about that? Because I know that came up since our last meeting. Okay. Okay. So there was a question specifically, or someone had indicated that they wanted to talk about outreach. If you could, please type in your question. What part of outreach were you just looking, wanted somebody to provide some, some best practices that they've encountered, or, that they found that worked well for them? Okay. What I'm going to do here's what I'm going to do, just so that I make sure that we're here. Let me go ahead and clear this poll. Okay. And then, okay, so I'm going to give you a topic, and the topic is outreach. You just need a demo for outreach. Okay. For outreach, we do have some resources available. They're under the Getting Started. And we have, actually we added a new infographic as well. And it's a little big here, but you can take a look at this. And it talks about, oops, not made it too small. You can take a look at it, and it covers like the overall, the program, the goals of the program, talks about, the basic elements, the teams, and so forth. So that's a new infographic that's available through the Get Started page. We also have instructions so that whenever you're setting up your team, so if you have an employer that you need to give access to the ATIM tools or partner staff, there's information here about setting up a team and giving them access. We have the different flyers that are available and talking points and information for recruiting participants. We also have an infographic and outreach materials that are available for recruiting partners as well. Okay. There are also some suggestions people have had. Sounds like a lot of people have had a lot of success with using the IDS robocalls. Those have been pretty helpful to many of the regions. The next topic is the intake process. If you could just use the polling question to let me know what did you, okay, great. Well, and then let me go ahead and clear that. And then the next area was enrolled customers, the personalized training plan. Did you have specific questions on the training plan? I covered different pieces and parts of the training plan, but I didn't just flat out go through the entire training plan. 2 people indicated they wanted to cover that information. So if you could just answer the question, either I have questions, need a demo, or ready for next topic. Okay. Looks like at least one person would like a demo, so we'll just go through that quickly, or a couple people. Okay. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. So for the training plan, what we need to do, let me first of all show you where the instructions are. You go to the online guide. It's available in the personalized training plan section, and it's called Set Up Teams and Create a Personalized Training Plan. And the reason is you have to have a team available and put together before you can start adding people to before you can give them their personalized training plan. Okay, so if I go to my customers list, you'll see you're defaulted to enrolled. You'll be able to see your listing of your customers and if they're on a team. If they're not on a team, you just select the plan and then you have to add them to a team. Once they are added to a team, let's pick on Beck. So once you select the plan, then you'll see that you have a preview of the plan. Your customer has the same preview for the plan. Only the LWIA staff can add in like the start and end dates. They can add in the different components for the various sections. They can identify which areas are required for optional training and enter in technical training information. Your partners will be able to add comments, and we'll take a look at that when this section shows up for me. Your partners will be able to add comments, and they will be able to indicate if a section is on or off track, and they will be able to indicate if a service is complete or not. Okay. As we mentioned before, you must have the person certified in IWDS before you can do step 1 and 2. It's important that you do step 1 and 2. If I click on the info bubble, because once you do step 1 and 2, IWDS is automatically updated with 2 services, and you need those services to be updated in IWDS before you can enroll the person in any other services within IWDS. And these can be the same start and end date. We have our optional training. Again, it's really optional unless you have an employer that is requiring it. Some employers want the NCRC. Some employers for different jobs may want particular MSSC certifications. So you can enter those start and end dates and just identify if that item is required or not. Again, this is your roadmap. You're developing a roadmap for your customers so they know what they need to do in order to meet the employment goal. You have your technical training, where you can identify what either stackable credential or courses that they need to complete. You can enter the start and date for the timeline for completing that training. You have your work-based learning and job placements. Work-based learning jobs that come here into this section that are made visible are those postings that are entered into ATIM tools. And so your customer will see only the, like for example, this person already has a target occupation of mechatronics. And so they will see any of those job postings automatically. The permanent employment ones, they'll see those automatically for anything that's entered in for the mechatronics. For you to for them to be able to see like the work-based learning opportunities, like job shadowing, internships, work experience, you need to bookmark those so that the customer can see those. And to do that, you'll see that you just open it up. And this one's already bookmarked, so you can undo the bookmark, or you can bookmark it so that the customer sees this information. They will see the location, job title, how to apply, wages. They'll also see the requirements, and then they'll also see the job competencies. These are the core competencies, and any other job competency that was entered in for that particular job. Okay. Now you'll notice that there's a little bit difference between these two different types. This is a flag, and this is a bookmark. The customer will see anything that is flagged or bookmarked. The difference is that this particular job shadowing opportunity is available, opened up to anyone that's in mechatronics. So this will show up for all the case managers to take a look at for anyone, and so they can make it visible to anyone, any of their customers in their personalized training plan. This particular job, which has the flag, means that when this job was entered into ATIM tools, whenever it was entered in, this person that I'm dealing with now, which is Donald Duck, was selected from a list. So not everybody in mechatronics got to see this particular job opportunity, only whoever was selected whenever they entered this posting. And you can tell that by the flag. It's a little bit different, flag versus the bookmark. And the customer will be able to see any item that's flagged or bookmarked. Okay? And then you have a summary for all your comments. Any other questions? I know earlier there was a question, earlier this week, not necessarily in this session, there's a question about the work-based learning and jobs section. And you need to, be working on entering those job forecasts, because those forecasts can help with determining what areas to put the customers in for their personalized training and employment plans. And then also we really need the actual openings, because again, those are the jobs that I just showed you. This is where they come from. If they're not in here, they're not going to show up in the personalized training plan. And we want you to be able to enter in the work-based learning as well as the actual job openings. Okay. All righty. I'm just going to use this. I know some people were ready to move on earlier, but let's go ahead and clear this. And
Not seeing anybody typing, Natasha, so.
And that's really all I have for this week. Did you have anything, Dee or Jim?
I don't.
My biggest thing is just reiterating how important it is to make sure everybody's going in every day to look for ATIM, search ATIM customers, and search ATIM group assignments. It's imperative that those be kept up to date and worked. You have to pick those clients in order to keep moving them through the process.
Okay.
I guess my only question is everybody getting enough applicants? Do they need to be doing any more outreach, and can we offer any suggestions to groups that you might be reaching out to, or are the robocalls helping?
The robocalls, I know that I had talked to, LaVon and Bevan, and they had provided, let me go back here, these resources for, going back to, I'm sorry, yep. Yeah, thank you, Dee, for moving that out of the way. I went back to the update section that has the information about the online professional development, and then these statewide manufacturing bridge um, courses. And so, if you know of a statewide, of a bridge, the manufacturing bridge curriculum, and you haven't already used that as a place to recruit some ATIM participants, I would suggest doing that. One thing they're already, I believe, they're already working on getting their MSSC certification in that course. So that would be an option for recruiting some more people.
Well, and the other thing to do is
Gotcha.
check local chambers of commerce to see if they've got any job search items going on. If there's people posting jobs, maybe they might be interested in being an employer on the program. And if you're having problems recruiting manufacturers, check the chamber listings and any manufacturers associations listings as well.
There was one other question that did come up this week, and I wanted to point out, I just remembered this. There was a question about, let me go to the actual. Sorry, I'm switching back and forth between production and edit. So on the reports, there was a question that came in about, how can I see who all, what teams are in, or, where are they in the process. There's several reports. You can do the ATIM eligibility report, and this will allow you to see, if you have customers, easily see customers that are, maybe they have been withdrawn, so you can select the withdrew selection and easily get a list of those people. You can take a look at I would suggest taking a look at this PTEP report, and, if you want to update your plans, like I had said, just to make sure that everything seems like it's in line. It's nice because you can look at the columns and filter the columns out to make sure, you can easily look at a whole great big group of people, but you can narrow it down really quickly to certain individuals, just to make sure that all the numbers, dates and everything are, look okay. And then you can also use this post-random assignment report for, just a listing of your customers to see, the individuals that are either put into control or treatment groups as well. Okay.
We have a side conversation going on in the chat pod right now.
Okay, well, that's all that I have for today. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and send them to us.
Natasha, I have one more that I'm forwarding right now. Could you just
Okay.
address this question, because it comes up, and I want to make sure everybody hears what your response is for that question I just sent.
If a client completes an online ATIM application, the ATIM case manager picks the client, calls the client, and then finds the person is not eligible. How should it be documented?
They just have to go through and, it needs to be documented in IWDS, right? So if they attempt to certify and it comes back as not eligible, then it'll pick that up in ATIM. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Now we have had instances that we have another side note. We have had instances where people have attempted to certify and it says that they're not eligible in IWDS. And so just to kind of give you a little bit of information about how the sync works, we check different things at different times just so that the sync is faster. So whenever you have a customer that doesn't have WIA eligibility entered, the system checks that person quite often to see if there's been any updates from IWDS for that particular person. But once they have WIA eligibility, such as whether it says is eligible or not eligible, it doesn't check that person for that particular field as often. What it does is it'll check it every 24 hours. So let's say that you have a person, you attempted to certify, you found out that they're not eligible for whatever reason, the system says they're not eligible. ATIM Tools is updated to say that that person is not eligible, so then you can't move on with the intake process, right? Because the fields are locked. But if you go back and you update IWDS, for whatever reason, and it says that, oh yes, actually, this person really is eligible, then one of two things will happen. One thing, if you wait until the next day, the ATIM tools will automatically pick it up, and so the next day it'll have the new status of that they're WIA eligible. But if you need to have them, if you need that status updated like right now, just contact us, either me or Lacey, and we can do a quick sync and get that status updated for you right away.
We have a question from the chat pod. At what point in the process should the torque be completed?
With the plan, it is in the step 1, and the idea is that that information is used to help develop their personalized training and employment plan. I mean, it could have been done in an earlier stage in the intake process for ATIM eligibility. And it's really more about a skills gap analysis, so it can be torque, or I believe, I think it's LEA 19, they use Prove It. There's other areas I'm sure that use similar products. So it's more about what you're doing in your region. Any other questions?
It looks like Karen is typing. We'll see if she has a question coming up. And then we can
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and wait for Karen. We'll stay on, but excuse me. We can go ahead and wrap it up. If it, and Karen, by what you're saying is, are you saying instead of having it in the intake process, have it in the step 1? go ahead and wait for Karen's response. But other than that, I believe we can wrap it up for today. If you have any other questions, you can go ahead and continue to type them in the chat. But other than that, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up for today. And